Hi, second graders. All right, I'm going to make myself bigger for just a minute. So, I'm super excited because this is one of my very favorite math games ever. And second graders every year love this game. It's called 101 and Out. And I'll be honest, at first, it takes a little bit to get used to. So, make sure you're really focused and thinking during my directions here. Okay. We'll play this game for the first time today, but then we'll play it some more over the next week or even month. Or kids usually love to play this game all year long. So 101 and Out. What you'll need for this game, you'll need your place value chart, and you'll need your base 10 blocks, and you'll need either a spinner. So I have a spinner here, or dice, whichever you have. And if you're using the spinner, the way that I do the spinner is you need a paper clip and like a pencil or a pen. Because what you do with the spinner, let me put it down here to show you. With the spinner, you just put the pencil in the middle and then you can make the paper clip go. So, oops, I didn't show you that. Let me try that again. So you put it on there and make it spin, and then you get what the number is. So here I just spun a 6. But if you don't have a spinner, I think I gave you one in your packet a long, long, long time ago. But if you don't have that, it's okay. You can just use it. Okay? All right. So what the directions for this game, I have them on Seesaw. So on the very first page of the Seesaw activity, you can see the directions. All right. So the math goal here is to add two-digit numbers within 100 using concrete models, drawings, or any strategy. So really any kind of adding or composing numbers together. So of course, player 1 gets to go first. If you don't have a buddy with you today, that's okay. You can just start as player 1, and then next round go to player 2. So on the other pages of the Seesaw assignment, here's the next page looks like that. So this would be where player 1 records their answers. And then if you click on the following page, there's player 2. So if you're all by yourself, just take turns and fill it in like player 1, player 2, player 1, player 2. Okay? If you have a partner, great. All right? All right, so you're going to spin the spinner or roll the dice. And when you do that, you're just going to see what number it lands on. So mine just landed on 9. It landed on 9 again. Okay? So mine landed on 9. You take that many ones or tens. So you have to choose. Do you want to take 9 ones, or do you want to take 9 tens? Okay, you make that choice, what you think would be the wise thing to do. All right, so you're going to repeat that going back and forth for 6 rounds. So I'll tell you that, I'll show you through that in a minute. But the whole idea is that the player closest to 100 without going over is the winner. So you cannot go over 100, right? So that was just my very first spin. I have to play 6 rounds. You have to play all 6 rounds. I am thinking if I rolled 9, that's the highest digit. So I think instead of choosing 9 tens, which would already get me up to 90, I'm a little afraid I might not be able to make it in there. I'm going to do 9 ones instead. Okay? So you make your decision. Do you want tens or do you want ones? And then what you do is you just put them on the place value chart. So since I wanted 9 ones, I'm going to put 9 ones here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I chose to do 9 ones that time. Okay, lift it back up here. And so after you put it on the place value chart, you are going to use your recording sheet here. Since that was my very first round, I started with 0 and I added 9 to it. So I'm going to use a text box, and I'm just going to write the numbers that match that the amount of blocks that I have there. Right? So player 1, I just did Oh, you know this seesaw goes kind of slow with that text box sometimes, huh? Gotta be patient. So I just rolled. I started with 0. I added 9 to it, and so all I have so far is 9. Okay? All right, so let's pretend now like I've got a second player. All right, so now the second player will need their own place value chart to do it. Otherwise, you're going to get them mixed up. So your second player also needs a place value chart, which you can just easily make on paper, of course. All right, so now, and if you're playing by yourself, you will need to have 2. That way you can kind of have two papers that you're working, or 2 charts that you're working with. So I just spun, and that time I spun a 5. Okay, so I need to decide 5 tens or 5 ones. I'm going to go with 5 tens for that one. Okay, so I'm getting out 5 tens and put those on the place value chart. And then I'm going to use my text box, and I'm going to, for round 1, I'm going to put, started with 0, and I added 5 tens. 5 tens is equal to 50. So my total for player 2 is up to 50 right now. Okay. Trying to be patient, moving that text box. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so it fits in there nice and good. Okay, so now we're back to player 1. So click on player 1 up there, and player 1, now I'm going to just do it again. This time I'm going to spin. Let's see what we get. 8. This time I got an 8. Well, I think this time, instead of 8 ones, I'm going to do 8 tens this time. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. And now I'm going to double count. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So now I'm going to put all those on my place value chart. So I'll show you how my place value chart looks now. I have the 9 ones and I have the 8 tens. So you don't take off what you had before. We're just adding up each time as we go. Okay, so I've got that on my chart. And then I'm going to use my text box. And this time I started with 9. So I'm going to put 9 and I added 80 to it. So now I'm up to 89. So you just put your equation right there. Give it that minute. So now, like, my total score is 89. Remember, the whole idea is that you don't want to go past 100 or you're automatically out. Okay? So then you would go back to player 2. So I'll show you guys one more round here. So for player 2, remember they had the 50 before. And so I'm going to spin again. Spin it. And now I've got 8. Oh boy, I've spun an 8. So now is the time I really need to be wise. I already have 5 tens or 50. If I add 8 tens to it, that is going to be way over 100. Way over 100, right? So that's not going to work out for me to add that many tens to it. Okay, so I'm definitely going to be choosing ones this time. So I have my 5 there still. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so this time I chose to do 5 or 8 ones instead of 8 tens. Now I'm going to record that on the recording sheet. So I'll use a text box. Give it a minute. So I started with 50. You always put what you started with on the board. And then I added 8 to it. And now my total is up to 58. All right, so I'm going to click to the side. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to scooch it on over there. All right, so now we're ready to go back to player 1. You get the idea? So you keep going back and forth. So this time player 1 would spin. They would choose, do I want to add ones or tens to it? and then they write their equation that matches the amount of blocks that you have each time. Okay, so at the end of 6 rounds, whoever is closest to 100 without going over is the winner. You can't go over, so you kind of have to think like, which one is closer? And then that person's the winner. All right. If for some reason you don't have, you should have enough blocks, but if for some reason you don't, you can always draw them. Just make do with whatever you have. And most of all, have fun growing your knowledge of adding numbers. Enjoy this activity, second graders. Can't wait to hear what you think of it.